Hey besties, welcome to Get Fit in Your 40s, where we get real about our own journeys and how we have helped thousands of women figure out why what worked in their 20s isn't cutting it anymore.
We are your hosts, Dookie and Kausar, your fitness BFFs, here to help you navigate losing weight and getting healthier in your 40s and beyond. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to another episode of Get Fit in Your 40s, the podcast where we bust fitness myths and help women over 40 to lose weight in perimenopause without giving up the foods they love or having to exercise endlessly. Today, we have a very special guest, Miss Connie. She joined the BFF program back in May of 2025, starting with our 4-week challenge. After seeing incredible results, she decided to continue, and she's now part of our VIP membership. She's a mom of 2. She works full-time in insurance and claims for 20 plus years. Today, Connie is going to share not only what changed for her physically, but also her mindset shift that helped her get what she's been wanting for so long. You stuck. So make sure that you're listening to this episode, sharing it with your friends and family, and taking lots of notes. Connie,
Thank you for having me.
we're so excited to be talking with you today. Why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your lifestyle?
Well, I'm 47. I'm going to be 48 in a few weeks. I'm an Aquarius. I have a 22-year-old daughter and a 4-year-old son. So it's kind of like having 2 only children. That 18-year gap is quite unusual, I think. I've just been working most of my life full-time, being a mom, trying to stay active and healthy, trying to, sustain all of those things to commit to this second phase of motherhood.
It's so beautiful. And you're an Aquarian. I'm also Aquarian. Tomorrow's my 40th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday.
Thank you so much. So yeah, we're going to talk all about life in the 40s, and I'm sure you're going to inspire a whole lot of besties out there. So what was that moment when you knew that I just can't keep doing this old ways anymore, and you had to decide to join a program?
I guess it would have to be late in 2023. Really put simply, I saw pictures of myself during the holidays, and I just did not like what I saw. I was very unhappy with it. When I saw the picture, I didn't feel like that was the person that I saw. And I just couldn't believe it. And it just made me feel so unhappy. And I just felt like I was stuck in a body that I was trying so desperately to change. And I think, I was just trying to use strategies that worked when I was having to lose post-baby weight in my 20s. I had my first daughter at 25. It was so much easier to lose that weight. And then in my 30s, I wasn't ever really at my goal weight. I feel like now, having gone through this program, I realized my goal weight's probably unsustainable for me. It was always easier to at least get to a place that I felt comfortable in my own skin and happy. But not so much the second time around. I was 43. It was also different symptoms like losing my hair, and the increase in belly fat was something that I could not do anything about. I was not treating myself very kindly, being really hard on myself, being over-restrictive, stressing myself out, which now I know probably added to the problem, that overstressing. So it just clicked for me because at the same time, I happened to be seeing BFF on Instagram, and all of the stories, posts, they just spoke to me. I felt like they were really relatable to me. The women that were being featured, were women just like me, busy moms who were just tired of being stuck in a rut. And so for me, it was just like, okay, maybe I'm just doing this wrong. Maybe I'm trying to do things that my body really isn't going to respond to at this stage in my life.
Oh my God, yes. And that is so true, because we talk to a lot of women on a daily basis. That's like true for a lot of us, right? Like as soon as we hit the 40 number, and then all these hormonal shifts. I love that you took action. And also you had a pregnancy when you were 43 while dealing with hormonal shifts. So it must have been very stressful, and your body couldn't just bounce back immediately like you thought it was.
Right. I thought it would take longer for me to actually get pregnant at 43, but that was actually a plus indication that there was something good happening in terms of my body and my hormones and all of that, because I was able to do it so easily, which surprised me. But the bounce back was not happening.
Right. What surprised you most about your body once you stopped that restrictive cycle? Because I know you mentioned that you were doing some diets before you joined the VFF program. Is there something that you realize that, okay, this is not going to be working for me? Because if I'm restricting, then I'm overeating and it's not helping me with my hormone.
I think the biggest change for me is this mindset that weight loss at my age was going to have to be this arduous, uphill, challenging battle forever. That I had to restrict heavily. I had to constantly be aware of the amount of food that I was eating, but also using food as a way to earn more food, right? To use movement in that way. The more movement I did, the more I ate, thinking that it was a prize or reward, instead of looking at food, which I think this program helped me do, as fuel and not as a punishment or a reward, but just what my body, my life, my hormones need to sustain itself. And I think that was sort of the biggest mind shift through the program, is how I looked at food, what food was really designed to do for me. And now whenever I have a meal, I just know that what I'm doing is fueling myself for the activities of that day, rather than, is it something that I should do, that kind of reward or punishment mentality that I had for so many years.
Oh, wow. And that actually leads me to my next question, because mindset is so huge. So you were in that all or maybe nothing mentality from time to time. Okay, I'm going to eat some, exercise some, and nothing works. And I'm going to just give up completely.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
How did your mindset around aging and weight loss changed after you entered the program? And what were your aha moments?
Well, it was interesting because I joined the program initially to lose weight. I wasn't losing a lot of weight with the program, to be honest. I think in total, in the last 6 months, I've only lost 7 pounds, but I've lost 4 inches off my waist, which is huge.
Wow.
And I've lost 3 inches off my hips, which is also huge. So I think this mindset shift was this focus, this relentless focus on the scale victories, and thinking that if the scale didn't move enough, that it meant failure. That was a total shift in thinking that the program helped me have, because instead of focusing, even still now when I do my coaching calls, we never focus on the number. I do take the progress photos, I do weigh myself, I do all the measurements, but we're never discussing that. We're discussing my new goals, which, through the program, I've discovered and achieved that these strategies that I've learned have helped me be stronger and have more endurance, learning to respect and appreciate the things my body can do. And the biggest thing that it's revealed for me is that I'm a runner. And I've never been a runner. I've never thought I would be a runner. But in October of last year, I did my first 5K, and I have 3 more runs set for this year. And every time I think about it, it just seems so incredible that is where this journey has brought me, because I never thought that I would be that person. And I feel so much stronger. I feel so much more capable. You get into your 40s and then things just have to stop. It's totally, absolutely.
Oh my God, I just got chills when you're talking about your running. That is incredible. I know Duki's been your primary coach, and she tells me the stories and I see your pictures. Truly an incredible accomplishment. 6-7 months, right? Like you started in May of 2025, and it's not even a year yet. And your accomplishments have been huge. You did mention something about scale. So that has not been your main focus versus your inches and how you see your progress anymore. Even the smallest thing, not feeling fatigued, and your sleep is feeling better, and you're fitting into your clothes better. How did strength training and the kind of program that was given to you helped you accomplish that?
Well, I think it just made my body stronger. My body was built to do the harder things, right? I recently experienced, because of the heavy rains, I slipped and fell on the porch, and I actually braced myself with my hands. And I got a little tendinitis in my thumb, but I felt like 6 months ago, I probably would have had a much more severe injury. But the fact that I was able to use my arms in a way to brace my fall, to have that strength, that muscle strength to be able to do that, I thought that was a game changer for me. Doing the strategies that's going to help me go into my 50s, my 60s, my 70s in a healthy way for my child, but also for me. At first, it was, I just want to be able to have the energy to chase a 4-year-old around in my 40s. But now it's beyond that. I can do so much more than just chase my kid around, like I've just gained so much more confidence in what my body can do. And it's not even about heavy lifting. It's not even about competing with the next person beside me at the gym. It's really just loving what my body can do at this stage in my life. And really, that strength training has brought that for me, because when I first started at 5-pound weights, then at 10-pound weight, and then when I got up to 20-pound weights, it just seems so unfathomable that I could even hold weights that heavy. And to now know that my body can do that, it empowers you in so many other ways. You feel like anything is possible.
That's just incredible. Oh my gosh, yes. And so are you still feeling some of the symptoms of perimenopause? How are the hormonal shifts been contained since you have been very active and lifting weights and doing your running program?
The biggest change I've noticed is that, honestly, I can't even tell when I'm going to be on my period, because it's usually before it was, I was moody, I was tired, feeling run down. I had all of PMS feels. And now it's like I have to check my app that helps me regulate, because I'm like, oh, when am I supposed to have my period? Because I'm just so even hormonally throughout the month. And I think that is from balancing out my macros, eating those balanced meals, doing the strength training, adding the cardio. The running came out of the idea that maybe I needed to up my cardio because of the slow scale victories I was experiencing. Right. So I was like, maybe I'll just do a little bit more cardio than I'm used to, not just walking. Maybe I'll start with light jogging. And then I just started this Couch to 5K program. It ended up being one of those things where I was like, okay, well, I'm running for 5 minutes at a time. Let's see if I can run for 9 minutes at a time. Let's see if I can run for 15 minutes at a time. Oh, let me see what I can do my first 5K. And then it went from there. So, all of that in a really roundabout way is just to say that hormonally, I've just been more even than I ever have. Sleep is better. I feel like I'm not losing as much hair. My skin feels better naturally. I've never really liked to wear makeup, so I feel like I haven't needed to do a lot of that in the last 6 months. So it's all kind of just clicking for me right now in that regard.
That's amazing. That is so good. You did mention macros. We did talk a lot about mindset, that you have crossed that bridge and now you're with this positive mindset, and you saw all the beautiful things that came with the strength training, and not only strength training, more like a progressive overload. That is something that we're very big on, right? Like you don't just lift 5 pounds for the rest of your life. You go a little bit more and a little bit more until you build that strength and that endurance. Let's talk a little bit about food. I know besties who talk to me throughout the day they telling me that get intimidated by the macros, get intimidated by putting food on the scale. And I always tell them it's just a tool. It's not a lifestyle. You use it just for a short period of time to get to that next goal, and then you maintain. What were your thoughts before, during, and now about tracking your food? What kind of knowledge have you received through this journey?
The biggest takeaway I think I have is that you're probably eating more than you realize. You need to start with tracking just to understand what a serving is, because a lot of people really think they know, but they have no idea, especially with things that are good for you, like walnuts and avocado. Like I just thought I could, eat tons of that and there would never really be any consequence. But when I really started to track it, I was like, whoa, I am eating way too much of those. No wonder. High calorie, good food, but high calorie, high fat. I think now I know what a good portion, just eyeballing it, what a good portion of avocado is for a meal, what a good portion of walnuts are. And I found that out through the program. And I say that to mean that a lot of people think, oh, I don't need to count calories because I know how much this is and how much that is. And I'm kind of eyeballing it the whole way. But you can't really know that until you start tracking to get a baseline. And then it starts to all click. Oh, yes, that's the reason why that wasn't successful, especially eating out. What I loved about the program was the eating out that you guys give. I really looked at that a lot because I did travel a lot for work for some time. And I was always doing these eating out trips with the family. You have busy days, but making smarter choices there and still being able to add that to everything else you eat. It's not an all or nothing approach. Like just because I had one meal out doesn't mean I ruined my whole day of tracking. I can track around it. So that was another big takeaway, that I could still enjoy meals out and be successful and still have that idea of balanced eating. The other takeaway I had was that I don't need to be overly restrictive. In fact, right now we've increased my calories because I've been doing so much work and sometimes struggling the new goals because it feels like a lot of food and I'm still achieving success, and it's all amazing. I love being able to eat more and still lose weight.
Oh my God, that is so incredible. Through my own journey of losing 35 pounds, I realized that for women, the idea of restricting, not eating, eat less, cut this, these negative words are so harsh and it doesn't work. If you want your results to be sustainable, these negative synonyms, they just don't work because then you just give up because it's too restrictive. So what I enjoyed about implementing BFF method is that freedom, right? That you have X amount of carbs you can eat, fill it with whatever you want. You can have your ice cream and you can log it and you move on. So I love that you shed light on that. I appreciate that. So what is that one small change you didn't expect to make such a big difference in your journey?
I would say the amount of protein that I eat. Everybody's talking about it. Protein, protein, protein. I think true. The more protein you put in your body, the more your body responds. For me, it hasn't been really a struggle to find that extra protein because I was always naturally drawn to plainer foods. I'm kind of a plain eater. So I think it is one of the smallest changes, and it's been so incredible. I can feel the boost in energy. I don't have any cravings. The breakfast protein is really the game changer for me every day. I cannot walk out of the house without having a high protein breakfast with coffee to follow. I don't drink coffee now on an empty stomach because I know how it makes me feel. It makes me jittery, increases my stress. So now I've learned to have a protein breakfast that fuels me for the better part of the day. I can go 4 or 5 hours after that without having to meet a meal. I'll eat lunch, but it doesn't feel like I'm starving by the time the lunch hour comes and I don't feel drained.
It's amazing. I really love that. Honestly, we don't think of it as such a big thing, but it's so key. Out of all the macronutrients, protein is just the king, with so many benefits for women in perimenopause. So how has this journey affected your relationship with your family, your work, your relationship with yourself?
Well, it's boosted my confidence tremendously. I will say that. I think one of the biggest indicators of that is as soon as I started seeing the progress I wanted to see, I dyed my hair blonde. I've never been a blonde. I just wanted that, outward expression to match how I felt inside. I was just always a brunette. I'm 47. I've been a brunette for 47 years. And then after this program, I had so much success. I was like, I'm going to have a little bit more fun because I've got more confidence. So yeah, there's that. But the other big thing that has happened is that it's inspired my husband.
Nice.
Because he's been so supportive of me, and he was the one that was taking my progress photos for me. And he was blown away by my results. And it motivated him, inspired him to get his own coach and to be on his own journey. And he's doing that now. And he's seeing his own results. And it is so nice to have a partner on this journey, somebody who will count macros with me, who will meal prep with me, who will understand the importance of me getting my movement in because he has to get his movement in. So it's been a really good way for us to connect and grow as partners. And then I will also say that, it's given me more energy and patience around my 4-year-old. Because when you're not at 100%, you're not giving 100%. And so not to suggest that I'm at 100% every day, I'm not, but it's giving me more fuel to achieve that on most days. You know, it sparked me to be intentional with my other family members, my sister, my brother. We're all very close, to just feel like I'm empowered to be here for the long term and connect more deeply with everyone around me.
Yeah. Oh my God. That is literally so beautiful. And it shows.
Now my husband can't use that as an excuse. Oh, it must be that time of the month. No, you don't know that anymore. I'm just upset right now.
I really love that. Amazing. So if you could speak with the version of yourself who felt stuck, overwhelmed, and exhausted, what would you tell her?
I would tell her that you need to not necessarily silence that inner critic, but listen to and don't take it that seriously. Basically just say, okay, that's what you want to say right now, but I think you're wrong. And I think I can do this thing. It's going to be hard and you're going to probably feel like you're failing, but you can do it. And you're going to love the results and you're going to have no regrets. And you just have to understand and appreciate that the goal is not perfection. It's just progress and showing up for yourself every day.
I love that. And last but not least, what would you say to a woman over 40 that is on the fence about starting their journey?
I would say try to understand your why, have a goal in mind, what your purpose is, why you're doing it. Always keep it in mind, but always remember that it's about progress and consistency and showing up for yourself rather than being perfect. If you don't feel like doing something one day, then maybe try replacing it with something smaller, right? Small and effective, I think, is the name of the game. Break whatever your goal into smaller parts. And then if, you can't do that one thing today, doesn't feel achievable that day, then maybe switch it to something smaller that feels more achievable and call that a victory. As long as I'm doing something, as long as I'm showing up for myself in some way, that I'm still making some progress. And I would say for most women in their 40s that think they're stuck and that there's no way up, everything is downhill, I would say absolutely not. It is not set in stone that once you reach your 40s, everything goes downhill. In fact, I think just the opposite. I think at any age, you have to consider it a different season of your life rather than trying to come up with a perfect strategy. Just come up with a more effective strategy for the time that you're in, for that season of your life. And I feel like having someone there to talk to about the goals that you want to achieve or, keeping you on track when you don't feel like keeping yourself on track is key. What I find very effective about the program is that you get not just with the coaches, but from the participants. Everyone else is going through the same thing and they are supportive. The accountability, the friendship, the connection, the understanding and insight that the coaches give you and that the other participants give you, I think is well worth whatever time, money, and effort you're spending to be part of the program. And I think that was just the thing that clicked for me when I started is, I've been trying to do this on my own for so long, and maybe that's not working anymore. So let's try something new. And it worked out so well for me.
Wow, that is so incredible. We're so proud of you, Connie. You have come a long way. And I'm so looking forward to our audience to listen or watch on YouTube and get inspired, feeling good about getting started with their weight loss journey at any age. Just because you cross that road into 40s, that doesn't mean that you give up on yourself, on your body, or on your dreams. Thank you so much, Connie. Thank you for being here.
I had a lot of fun. It's great talking to you.
If you love this episode, make sure to follow us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify or YouTube Podcasts. Please make sure to check out our Instagram at become.fitforever or check out our website, eff.zone. In the show notes, you can also find a link to book a call with us to learn more about how we can help you. I'll see you guys in the next episode.